Yes, you should wear gloves in training and arguably racing in triathlon, especially off-road. They improve your bike handling skills, they increase your confidence, and they help prevent injury. Let me explain. Hey, it's Eric here with ewjtri, bringing you a new video every week. So your next triathlon race is your best triathlon race. Hit that red subscribe button now so you don't miss another video. You'll be able to get faster and hopefully learn from the mistakes that I've made along the way. And speaking of mistakes, that's what's prompted this video about wearing gloves in a triathlon. I've had some painful learning experiences, if you check out this picture here, in terms of when I wasn't wearing gloves, and that's why I'm a real proponent at this point of wearing gloves. For me at this point, it's not really if you should wear gloves, it's what type. And that'll be another video, but in general, just to give you an idea, there's the full coverage, warm, heavier glove. There's the summertime, all-purpose, much lighter glove. And then there's the glove that actually doesn't cover your fingers, just covers most of your palm. So gloves are so important in my experience that I would even choose those over wearing socks. So you can check out my video in the upper right here, socks versus no socks, and the advantage of that. Today we're talking about gloves or no gloves. So I'll put a link at the bottom here to my favorite gloves, but let's get down to the reasons why. Okay, so you're not wearing them in the swim, so your gloves are waiting for you in transition 1 before you head out on the mountain bike. So it helps your handling. You know, your hands are probably sweaty, or if there's just conditions that are slippery, if it's been rainy, it just gives you that better grip to improve your handling as you're moving back and forth over different terrain, turning sharp corners up and down hills. It just really improves handling overall. And with improved handling abilities, I don't know about you, but that really improves my confidence that my hand's not going to slip off the bar and I'm going to be able to make that turn with good grip on the bars. So the second thing is actually protection. With the mountain bike, you're more likely to fall anyways, just normally, let alone if it's rockier, if there's lots of roots, if it's slippery, or if it's been raining, even if it's it's not raining during the race. And I'm not even talking about total falls. There's been times where you kind of go around the corner or it's a little bit rocky and you might put your hand out or have kind of a partial fall and really can scrape up your hand. So having that extra protection. And then if you do go all the way down, again, it's even offering further protection for those falls. And then further talking about protection, it's not even from falls, but I've had my hands on the bars and you're going around some tight wooded areas and I've had trees or limbs slapping against my knuckles. So again, just lots of protection from the elements when you're on that mountain bike. And then kind of a bonus one that still involves protection, but protection from the sun. And maybe this is fresh in my mind because I had my yearly checkup at the dermatologist yesterday, but your hands are there and the sun's beating down. If it's a long course, you're really actually preventing sunburn by having the gloves on as a bonus that most people don't kind of think about. Okay, so you're definitely wearing gloves on the mountain bike. There's no debate. The only argument I see is that it takes a few seconds to put them on in transition, but it is well worth it to have those gloves. Now on the run, a little bit more debatable, but I've been wearing them more and more. So, one thing you can think about those, if you've already got the gloves on the bike, you can just keep them on the run and actually save time in transition by not taking them off. And as a second thought, if you actually do a duathlon, run, bike, run, I'd actually recommend wearing the gloves on the run in the first leg, so that way you're not wasting any time putting them on before the bike. So anyways, back to the run. So wearing them in the run, the main advantage is really protection again. So especially those rockier courses, the slippery ones, it really comes down to the terrain. And if you go down, I've had, over 20 years, I have never fallen running on the roads. And I actually tease some of my friends, my wife included, who have an occasional fall on a sidewalk or a road and skin up their hands or whatever. And the last several years running on the trails primarily, I probably fall 3 or 4 times a year. And so really scraping up those hands is just not something you want to make a habit of. So really offering that protection. And then as a secondary reason, on courses that are slippery and have a lot of wooded areas, like Maui was the last one I did, where having gloves actually as you went around a sharp corner, or if you're going downhill that was slippery, you were able to actually grab onto a tree or put your hand on a rock, not worry about scraping it up as you kind of shifted and changed direction. So it was actually kind of a race tactic advantage from the standpoint that your hands weren't slipping off the trees, that you could grab it and use that as leverage or to pull yourself up having those gloves on. So in that sense, it actually helped prevent falling on the run, even though that's not as detrimental as falling on the bike. And then the last thing is actually wearing the gloves, especially in training, to prevent some of these injuries. For example, this fall that I had here, I was able to still run and bike after the fall. I wasn't wearing gloves, but I have a friend who's a physician who does triathlons, and so I know he'd tell me the truth. Not that other doctors lie, but I really trusted him. And he, looking at this cut, he was like, you can't swim for a couple days until that really heals enough over. It doesn't have to be perfectly healed, but you don't want any infection in there or anything. And so just because I fell on a trail run, now I have to tell my coach the next day that I can't swim because I fell trail running. And so just something a lot of us don't think about, I certainly didn't think about, but keeping us fully healthy even in the training phases, and then perhaps trying a couple times in training not wearing the gloves if you really don't want to wear them in the race, because again, I would argue everything you do in training you should do in the race, but it doesn't take much on the trails. If you get tired, especially on a longer run, you don't lift your foot up, you hit that rock, hit that root, and boom, you go down. And then it takes days or weeks for some of those wounds to heal, even if they're not severe. They just kind of become annoying and get in the way of your training schedule. Okay, so I hope that video was helpful for you. No matter what type of glove you wear, they're going to be beneficial. They're going to help increase your confidence, your handling, and most of all, help prevent some injuries and annoying injuries at that. So put a comment below if you've got a glove that really has just been awesome for you, that's really helped out. You can email me at ewjtri@gmail.com right this second if you want to get involved in coaching or learn more about that. Provide a free 30-minute consultation with no commitment. New video next week. And until then, I will see you with gloves on the trails. Hey, it's Eric at ewjtri bringing you another video or have trouble with